You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. A little technical difficulties, but we're back here rocking more DSR2 as I get the main camera back up and rolling. We do have our head to now you can see our ugly mugs. We're like really close now. You got to look at us face to face as we get back into it. But we were talking a little NBA before we had a computer meltdown here. And we were getting into the matchup scenarios that you have here with these finals, and I really think that it's going to be something different for. I think it's going to be a good series. I think it's going to go 7, but I think it's going to play out a little bit different than everybody thinks. I just, it's a battle of styles, and whoever. Flinches first, I guess, is going to be the situation. But Boston has proven that they can win on the road, and they just need to steal one.
Right.
So that's why this is, to me, it's got to be a 7-game series. There's no other, unless you think that Boston has got it like that, and they're going to they could just beat Golden State, but that quickly. But I think. They are battle worn, and I think they're built for this to go 7, to be honest. And maybe it benefits them that it does go 7 games. I mean, am I talking out of my ass here?
No, if it goes 7 games and it's anybody's game to win on there, Game 7, Boston seems to have that experience of getting to 7 again. They've already won the last 2 in 7 games on there. I mean, Golden State took care of Dallas. What we thought was going to happen on that, just Dallas doesn't have the fire. Yeah, they got Luka, but they got nobody else with there that can compete with them. Memphis might have been a different series if John Morant was healthy and played in that series.
Right.
Really, Golden State has not been touched.
They haven't.
They haven't been punching them up yet.
And I think that's what's going to happen here. And that goes a long way into why I've got Boston in 7 games in this series, because I think that worn and battle tested and all that's an advantage, because I think rested advantage. They have Golden has the experience advantage when it comes to an NBA.
Oh, it's not even close. It's on their final is what they've
So what I think that, and why I'm leaning happening is where I think they get an advantage is that punch in the mouth is steal a game. That punch in the mouth is what they've done all season long, including the playoffs. I mean, with the exception of that 25-25 start, guys. Remember that they were 25-25.
Right, they were in the play-in tournament.
Right, and then they just put it together. So I mean, that could all come crumbling apart. But I just feel like this is a culmination of what they've been doing. I think this is. One of those things where they can come in, they can punch them in the mouth, they can steal a game early in this series on the road, and they can get things in their favor, and they can press Golden State. I think when you press Golden State, that's when they struggle a little bit. And so if you take control of this series and you take control of what's going on, you can press them, and I think that's your best advantage. I think, and for me, I just feel like that's what could happen. They only need to get one of these first 2. It doesn't matter when or how. They just need to get one of those first 2. And I ain't even tripping if they don't get one of those first 2. As long as they don't lose at home, they hold serve, and they can still come back and win a road game. I just don't. You just going down 2-0 is just not a thing, though, if you want to be realistic about finishing this thing. So I fully expect to force a Game 7 and win the NBA championship. Right. What's your take on this thing?
I think it's going to be Golden State in 6 in that. I think Boston will probably down, but Boston at home too not been great. I mean, they've been these whole playoffs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They haven't been great, but they've been great on the road.
Right, they've been really good on the road. But again, if they split the 2, but if they go back to Boston, somehow loses the next 2, then they're going to have to split the first 4. 2-2.
I don't feel that they're going to go home and lose 2. They don't lose 2 in a row.
Just no, it may be.
Look it up. Boston does not lose 2 in a row, and when they lose, look what happens to you the next day.
Right. That's the one thing with Boston is they're resilient and they just put it for. And again, we've seen that in the past. I mean, they look terrible one game, the next game they look like world beaters.
Well, what happens is sometimes it's complacency or tired. Sometimes a lot of different factors can go into that. But what I love about Boston is they don't lose. They haven't lost 2 in a row all playoffs long.
No,
and I don't see that changing just because it's Golden State. Because we've looked at Golden State and we've seen them run over others doesn't mean they're going to be able to accomplish that against Boston. I just feel like, and to be quite honest, Boston is, a little bit of a different monster, and I don't know how, it's a little bit of a different thing than what you've seen them deal with throughout so we'll see what happens. All that being said, the first game at home for Golden State, I expect them to win this game. They come off some rest. They're at home. They should win this first game.
The key is game 2.
Yeah, the key will be game 2 in this series, I think. Well, honestly, as much as the key is game 2, I think it's games 3 and 5 that tend to decide a series depending on how what happens with those two with the first game. So but I just don't think anybody I don't see Boston just hasn't lost 2 games in a row. I don't see it happening now, but I don't see how they come in and win the first game right off rip. But I do expect them to get one of these 2. So I guess that's it. I got them winning. I got Golden State game 1, Boston winning game 2, probably game 3 will go. If they're going to lose a home game, then they would win game 4. Then they would, they
got if they win if it's 2-2 and they win game 5, then Boston under that. I think game 5 might be the key.
Right. That's kind of what
it looks like under because if Golden State goes up 3-2, game 6 is at Boston.
Even if Boston wins at home, then they got to win 2 in a row and go on the road, which they just did.
Yes,
they just did. So don't act like they can't do it. But Golden State's going to be
they won. They didn't. They were up 3-1 against. No, they were up. It was 3-2. Miami won it game 6, and then Boston pulled out game 7 because game 6 they lost to Miami when
at home
when right. Jimmy went for 47 points on them.
Right.
So I get it, and it's the kicker is Boston can win on the road, and it's a defense wise with there. And again, I don't have a horse in this race under, and be honest, I would be happy if either team won.
Yeah, I don't really care who wins.
No, because Boston. Sure. I like this current incarnation of the Celtics. I've always loved Tatum under. I thought again they got the steal, they got the best player of that draft, and they picked third. They moved down and they got him. They basically let Philly screw up and take Fultz.
Right.
And they took Tatum, who they wanted to begin with. And now you got him and Jaylen Brown. And again, Horford should have never left Boston. He just should have stayed there.
Yeah.
And again, losing Kyrie Irving, win by subtraction.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's addition by subtraction in that case, just because he's a head case right now, and it's just too much.
He's a head case. KD was a basket case. He's, again, talk about a guy that's got everything, and he's just like vanilla pudding between the ears.
Well, he's got a fragile ego.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
It's just he's just got a very fragile ego. And, when you have a grown man that's got, like, multiple burner accounts when he shouldn't even have a social media account. I mean, think about that. This guy is a multimillionaire at 20 whatever years old, and he's got his dream job, and he's got everything going for him, and he's the man, considered one of, if not the best current player in the game at one point, and he's got a bunch of fucking burner accounts so he can troll dudes on Twitter. I mean, like, give me a fucking break. Like, what in the hell's wrong with you in between your ears that you're 12?
Right.
You're a 12-year-old. You're a 12-year-old little punk ass.
He needs to basically have everybody adore him and love him.
Yeah, why are you a little 12-year-old punk ass? Why are you Eddie Haskell?
I always thought of more as
I mean, seriously.
Potsy.
Yeah. I mean, we're all dating the hell out of ourselves here. But
Well, you're the one. I didn't even. I'm like, dude. At least I'm picking somebody up from colored TV, not black and white.
but it's just like, what the is going on here?
But yeah, we'll see what. I think it's going to be the big difference if it was between coaching decisions and that. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's the other play too, because you got two great coaches that have really maximized what they've gotten out of their players. Like, to me, this is everything you want in the NBA playoffs. Like, this is it. This is your finals, and this is what you want. You've got the offensive team that everybody's scared is going to run up 140 points on them. You got this great, gritty defensive team. Both teams have got depth. Both teams have played good teams to get where they're at. Both teams have great coaches. Both teams have an advantage at different positions. One team's great at home. One team's great on the road. Like, you've got everything that you want here. Can we deliver? I don't know. We had everything we wanted in a Game 7 against Miami, and Miami didn't come.
Right.
Butler showed up, and everybody else said, see ya. So we can't have that in this series. You can't have one single guy not show up for one single game, or that'll change the outlook of this whole situation, because these are the two best teams.
Oh, yeah.
It's not. I don't even think it's in question. And I don't want to hear the Giannis and the Bucks and all this other nonsense. No, these are the best teams right here. I'm not hearing the Phoenix nonsense either.
No, way Boston played in that second half under in the playoffs under, it's not even close.
Right.
These are the best two teams. These are the most complete teams out there left.
Right.
And it wasn't even close on there.
And they're healthy too.
Right.
So, like, this is what we want. So we're actually going to get it.
And again, I mean, nice to see is, Ime Udoka, basically his first year with them as the head coach there. And again, he's played his dues in it. But again, Brad Stevens moving up on there to the front office and bringing in Udoka as their coach there this year.
Brilliant
Move.
And he's doing great. He's just doing really good, man. I couldn't believe he looks young enough to play. But he's been doing great with that team. You just can't deny the results. And to be quite honest, Homeboy's better in the front office than he was the coach, and he wasn't a bad coach.
No, he was a really good coach on there. He's
right.
He basically made the right moves this year that fat little leprechaun didn't do.
Right.
He kept hoarding draft picks. But it's like, dude,
right.
Do some with the picks. Whereas he got in there, said, you know what, we're going to bring back Horford down there. We got Marcus Smart. I settled him as as our point guard.
Sure.
Let Brown in it. And again, you've got a superstar. This team kind of reminds me a lot of the Toronto Raptor team that won.
Sure.
You had your superstar with Tatum versus Kawhi, and they're comparable.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
And again, I think this is a nice. I think both teams are evenly matched up.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we were talking about too. Now, as much as an offensive output that Golden State, neither one of these teams are world beaters or unbeatable type teams when you look at them. And so they both have their flaws, or they both have their strengths, and that's kind of when you look at it. That's what makes this compelling. It puts it in that parity mode, where a team can just both these sides, either team could win this. And this is what sucks is anybody, you obviously went with 6 games, so you're fairly confident in Golden State. Me, that says 7 games is basically just saying, yeah, this is a pick 'em, I just feel I'm just leaning towards one or the other, but it's basically a pick 'em, and I think that's true. That is the case here. It is kind of a pick 'em. I'm leaning towards Boston just because of what I've seen them in this playoffs. As impressive as Golden State has been, they've been really, in my opinion, dealing with a much more undermanned West this year as opposed to Gauntlet.
Yeah, the East was a lot tougher. I think
I just
on there.
feel that way by eye test. I don't know if that's like stats.
No, I wouldn't agree with it, because you look at the top 4 of the East. I mean, it was a really tough to win the East.
Sure.
The West was Phoenix basically is
Well, and they fell apart.
They
to
fell
be
apart in the
honest.
playoff. And, nobody. I mean, again, Memphis losing Ja Morant hurt them, but yeah, it was
Right.
You look on there with it versus the East on there. I think it was just a better option with it. So, yeah, we had that, and then locally on Facebook, I think was one of the local online things on there talk about who would win between the Bad Boys Pistons and the 04 going to work Pistons, and I'm thinking, and a lot of people were picking the 04. I'm like, dude,
You guys are insane.
you need to watch the Bad Boys game. The Bad Boys had the deepest bench in the NBA at that time.
Yeah.
They went 10 deep.
Oh, yeah.
Without even blinking.
Yep.
Yeah, they played great defense, but dude, they were averaging 110 points a game.
Yep.
Much as I love Chauncey, dude, he'd have his handfuls with Zeke.
Oh, yeah.
And don't give me this, Rip can run all over the place. Dude, Dumars was guarding Jordan.
Right.
So don't tell me he can't guard Rip.
I know. I ain't hearing that. And Rip's a catch and shoot guy. So you don't think, you don't think they can deal with Reggie Miller already?
Yeah. Dude.
The original guy?
Yeah.
This is you got the dollar store Reggie Miller. I like Rip, but he was the dollar store Reggie
Right.
Miller.
I mean, especially
Reggie just never had a team.
That 88, 89 Piston team on there, especially, Rashid is going to get basically would lose his mind, playing against Lambeer and Mahorn.
I know.
They would get in his head.
Yeah. Well, see, I think he could keep up with Lambeer or Mahorn, but not both.
No.
And that's the problem. Is he
They
would have to
would-
deal with both of them.
Yes.
So, he could deal with Lambeer for a while. He could deal with Mahorn for a
Ben's
series.
got to deal
but
with
they'd be going back and forth and back and forth dealing with both them
Big
guys.
Ben going against Rodman.
Right.
Dude, I'll take Rodman defensive-wise. As much as I like Ben, Rodman was the best defensive player
Yes.
in the NBA.
Yes. I think yes. He was the best. He was just the best overall everything but scorer.
Right.
He did all the intangible stuff.
He didn't
too.
mind not being the scorer. He liked doing all the little dirty
Ben
work.
Wallace was just a rebound machine, and then he'd get the occasional block.
Yeah.
Not that they weren't key blocks
Big
at the
Ben
right
was getting
time.
16, 17 rebounds, but Robin was averaging at one point over 20 rebounds a game
Right.
on there with it.
Well,
he-
and Rodman was doing things that don't show up on the stat sheet,
Yes.
and Rodman was getting steals, and he was doing things that
blocks
Ben
and he can guard 1 through 5.
Yeah, every position. So Ben would struggle with point guards. They'd blow right by him.
Then you got coming
he
off
always
the
had
bench. You've
Tayshaun.
got Vinnie Johnson. You got Sally. You got Aguirre. I mean, Buddha Edwards.
It's just so crazy.
That Piston team was really freaking. I mean,
Yep.
they don't get their just nationally of how great a team they were.
Zeke, Joe D, Bill Lambier, Mahorn, Sally, Rodman, James Edwards, Vinnie Johnson, Mark Aguirre. What are you talking about, dude? All those guys are all-stars, right?
Yes. Lambier was the prototypical stretch four.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Fight
again,
me
playing
on it.
into a league with the head of 3-point line.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we could shoot threes. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
And he would get double-digit rebounds, and the guy had a 2-inch vertical.
I know.
So
Same thing. He didn't even jump when he shot threes.
No.
Had no arc on it whatsoever. Straight line, and then suckers would swish. How do you swish a straight line shot? How does that even happen?
So
He messed up geometry for me so bad. I didn't get angles after his shots. Just never got angles again.
it's like, that's what I said, is they don't give the Pistons, that Bad Boys, enough love. And a lot of people are forgetting how really great Zeke was.
Well, and you forget that they did win back-to-back, and they probably should have won 4.
Right.
And that you can't say that about the only
They
thing.
had to change the rules because Jordan bitched and whined because they couldn't
Right.
beat him until they changed the hand check rules.
So an 04 team should have won 5, but that's it.
Right.
And so you look at a team that should have won 4 as opposed to a team that should have won 2 but only won 1. It's just, I think that the proof is right there. So, but once again, we get caught up in our eras, right, Moose? We talk about it here all the time.
I like the going
But-
to work. They were great.
But those two teams weren't far enough apart that it would matter, right? Because the going to work Pistons were winning games with 70 points.
Right.
Remember?
Yes.
Just
They played
first
great
team to
teams.
70 would win.
Right.
And so You don't tell me those two teams were closer in era than you give them credit for as far as the way they played. And so this is a good comparison, those two together. It doesn't matter if the 90s Pistons came to 04 or vice versa. I still believe the outcome is the same.
Yes.
So pre-hand check, post-hand check, it doesn't matter.
No.
I think it's still the same. Hey, man, to each his own. I'm sorry, but the Bad Boy Pistons are one of the, if not most underrated championship teams ever. Nationally speaking, nobody talks about them.
No.
When you start breaking down the best NBA teams of all time, at best championship teams in NBA history, the Pistons I don't think make people's top 10.
No, they don't make it. Either of them do.
And they should. The Pistons should be up there. When you start talking about the best championship teams in NBA history, if they're not in your top 10, I don't know what the hell you're watching, because those 90s teams were. They should be up. They're up there with the Lakers and the Celtics and all, and even those Jordan teams.
When they went to the finals that first time, it took the Lakers 7 games to win and a phantom foul, and Zeke basically playing on it one leg in game 6 in that third quarter.
It took the GOAT to get the hand check rule and take Dennis Rodman to win championships over the team. You know what I mean? Like,
especially the second 3. Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, don't act like, you know, that stuff, you know, like they weren't a good team or whatever, because they played against great teams too. It's not like there wasn't competition. They played against some all-time great teams.
They went through Boston. They went through Lakers. They went through Chicago.
Right. Yeah, all great teams at the time. So it's and great all-time teams. Like I'm not even hearing that nonsense. So, but it is what it is. Like I said, we're a victim of the era, and people just only see what they see. We try to be open-minded because of what we do here, and kind of see a little bit of everything. And then I'm a little younger than you, Moose, so I can lean that way. You are more of a historian too. You remember things that I cannot ever remember, and you go back further than I do. So that's why we have good balance here. But most people don't have that balance in their life. They're in that echo chamber.
Right.
And so so they don't know. They just think the best team ever was, Kobe's Lakers or whatever.
Kobe's Lakers, I hate to say, when they won in 2010, Kobe's Lakers weren't going to beat Magic's Lakers.
No, that's what I'm saying. They weren't even the best Lakers
Kobe's
team.
Lakers in 2010 weren't going to beat the 2001 Lakers with him and Shaq.
Right. Yep. That's why I said they're not even the best Lakers team. So
no.
It's just funny like that. So, anyway. But the NBA Finals, they should be good. We'll be able to break them down. We are getting close to the end of our season, Moose, as we've been doing this a long effing time. 654 episodes. Closing out.
We got end of the second period. It is 4-2 Rangers over the Lightning.
Ooh, look at that. That's should be... Once again, you got two great goalies and a lot of good goaltending and high scoring and a lot going on. So get in on those NHL playoffs, get in on the NBA playoffs, and just get in on your general family time. I know Memorial Day passed. I hope you guys celebrated it. If you can celebrate it, right? It's not a celebration, it's a memoriam. So just remember remember where your freedoms came from and all that stuff. I'm sure you guys enjoyed your weekend, and I hope so, but enjoy your family, your friends, and everything going forward, because you just never, ever know when tomorrow is not there. So don't hold back what you feel, and tell people how you feel, and put it all out on the or if you show that be out summer. So I'm going to be doing that. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be soaking in my family, my loved ones. We got a wedding, Moose. We got to get things going. We're going to have fun. Love your loved ones. Tell them every day. We love you guys. We'll see you.
Peace out, brothers.
Peace.
You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.